Lesson 2.7, fractions, calculating equivalent fractions. Cal wanted to figure out an equivalent fraction for 5/6. So she drew this picture to help. This is 5/5, 5/6, I mean. Then she drew another 5/6 to help. Kel realized that she drew another line horizontally. She could find an equivalent fraction. So let's draw the line horizontally. So when you draw it horizontally, actually it should be equal parts. It could be equal parts. So let's see, then this is more equal now. So let's draw it, draw a line horizontally. Then we can get the equivalent fraction. Then she noticed that splitting the shape that way would double the value of the denominator. So that means this would double the value of the denominator because right now we have the shape splitted into 12. So that means we multiply the denominator by 2. And when we multiply by 2, we have to multiply the same number with the numerator. So we multiply the denominator by 2, then the numerator should be multiplied by 2. So let's do it. 6 times 2 will be 12. 5 times 2 will be 10. There you have it. So the equivalent of 5/6 is 10/12. Because you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of 12. 10, 11, 12. So 10 of 12 is shaded. In other words, 5/6 is equivalent to 10/12. It's the same. Equivalent means the same. Equivalent. It means the same, equal. So we notice that 12 is a multiple of 6. We notice that 12 is a multiple of 6. And that is why we can derive the denominator to be 12. Now let's go on to the workout. In each shape, the blue part shows the first fraction. Then draw more lines and complete the diagram to show an equivalent fraction. So we can notice the denominator is 12. So what can we multiply by 4 that will give us 12? We can multiply 3. 4 times 3 is 12. So therefore, when we use 3 for the denominator, we must use the same number for the numerator. Just like we use 2 here, we use 2 for the denominator, we must use the same number 2 for the numerator. So now, since we know we're multiplying it by 3, we have to draw 3 lines, split them into 3. So let's split them horizontal and make sure it's equal. So 1 times 3 will be 3. So 1/4 is equivalent to 3/12. Part B. What can we multiply by 12 that will give us, by 3 that will give us 12? What is the multiple of 12? So that will be 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So the same number you use in multiplying the denominator, you must use the same for the numerator. So that means we split this into 4, add 4 lines. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Add 3 lines to make it split into 4. So we now have 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 4 is 4. So 1/3 is equivalent to 4/12. Part C. So the denominator is 2 and 12. So what can we multiply by 2 that will give us 12? That is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. So we use the same 6 to multiply the numerator. So 1 times 6 will be 6. And let's split this into 6 by adding 5 lines. One, two, three, 4. So we have 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1/2 is equal to 6/12. Now let's go on to part D. 2 and 6. So what can we multiply by 2 that will give us 6? That is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Now we use the same number for the numerator. 1 times 3 is 3. So we split this into 3 by drawing 2 more lines. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Split it into 6 equal parts. Then we have 1, 2, 3. 3 shaded. 3/6. Now let's go on to number 2. Number 2. Complete these to show equivalent fractions. So what can we multiply by 5 that will give us 10? That is 2. And we use the same number up here. 1 times 2 is 2. What can we multiply by 8 that will give us 16? That is 2. 8 times 2 is 16. Or 2 times 8, 16. So we use the same number. 2 times 3 or 3 times 2 is 6. What can we multiply by 6 that will give us 12? That is 2. 2 times 6 is 12. Or 6 times 2 is 12. Then we use the same number to multiply the numerator, which will give us 10. What can we multiply by 5 that will give us 10? That is 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Now we use the same. 3 times 2, 6. Next. What can we multiply by 4 that will give us 8? That is 2. 4 times 2, 8. So we use the same 2 to multiply the numerator. 5 times 2 is 10. But F, 3 and 6. So what can we multiply? This will be 2. 3 times 2, 6. We use the same number. 1 times 2 is 2. Part G. 8 times 2 is 16. So 5 times 2 will be 10. 4 times 4 will be 16. 7 times 4 will be 28. Next, 4 times 5 will be 20. 3 times 5 will be 15. 5 times what will give us 20? 5 times 4, 20. So 6 times 4 will be 24. 6 times what will give us 12? 6 times 2, 12. So 8 times 2 will be 16. 8 times what will give us 16? That is 2. 8 times 2, 16. So we use the same number, 2. 12 times 2 will be 24. There you have it, folks. Now let's go on to the fast finishers. Complete these to show equivalent fractions. 4 times what will give us 12? 4 times 3. So we use the same. So this is missing, so 9 divided by 3 will be 3. Or 3 times 3 will be 9. That is 5 times 2. So we use the same number. 2 times what will give us 8? 2 times 4 will be 8. 3 times what will give us 12? 3 times 4 will be 12. So we use the same number, 4. So 4 times what will give us 5? 4 times 5 will give us 20. 10 times 2 will be 20. So we use the same number, 2. So 2 times what will give us 30? 2 times 15 will give us 30. Now let's go on to the practice 2.7. Number 1. In each shape, the gray part shows the first fraction, then draw more lines and complete the diagram to show an equivalent fraction. So pause this video, go and do this. Do number 1, number 2, A to H, and come back for the correction with the teacher. Pause the video now, go and do it. Do it first and come back and watch the correction. Now 1A, we have 4 here and 8. What can we multiply by 4 that will give us 8? That is 2. Use the same number to multiply the numerator. 1 times 2, that will be 2. So we split this in 2. Let me draw one line to make it equal. So we have 2 8. 1, 2. 2 of 8. Now part B. 2 times what will give us 8? 2 times 4. So we use the same number. 1 times 4 will be 4. So split it into 4 by drawing 3 lines. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of 8. Part C. 3 times what will give us 9? 3 times 3, 9. So we use the same number here. 3 times 1, 3. So we split this in 3. So we have 3 of 9, 3 ninths. So 1/3 is equal to 3 ninths. Now, let's check this one. 3 times what will give us 6? 3 times 2, 6. Now, we use the same 2. 1 times 2 will be 2. So we split it in half. Split it in half, 1, 2. So we have 2 of 6. Now let's go on to number 2. Number 2, complete these to show equivalent fractions. What can we multiply by 6 that will give us 12? 2. So we use the same number here. 3 times 2, 6. What can we multiply by 5 that will give us 10? That is 2. So we use the same number. 2 times 2, 4. What can we multiply by 8? That will give us 16. That is 2. 8 times 2, 16. So we use the same number. 5 times 2, that is 10. What can we multiply by 5 that will give us 10? Multiply. That is 2. 5 times 2, 10. So we use the same 2. 4 times 2, 8. Part E. 4 times what will give us 8? 4 times 2. We use the same 2. 3 times 2, 6. 8 times what will give us 16? 8 times 2. So we use the same 2. 7 times 2, 14. 3 times what will give us 9? 3 times 3. So we use the same 3. 4 times 3 will be 12. 4 times what will give us 16? 4 times 4. We use the same number. 5 times 4 will be 20. There you have it. Check out the correction and do the adequate correction